Peace in Power Family. Dr. Daw back in the building. You know, we had a nice night yesterday, family, with brother President Everett Winchester from the UNIA. But today, we got the one and only. We have the one and only proper perspective, aka your brother Shabazz, will join me on the other side.
When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Black and I'm proud. When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. Become a part of it. Embrace it. 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 When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.
Family. Thanks for joining us here on, I'm about to say Conversations with Dr. Daw, but you know, we're doing something a little different. Me and the cuz proper perspective, aka your brother Shabazz, Professor Shabazz. Okay. We had some mix-ups and some wires crossed, but nonetheless, we are here and we are ready. I'm taking the back seat today. We had a really powerful, I'm going to say conversation. I guess I can call it powerful. It was a very interesting conversation, to say the least. And as proper perspective, Professor Shabazz, what his thoughts were. And I said, I would like to see you review this, man. Because what I am saying, he does some of the most thorough reviews. I'm just saying, he does excellent reviews. I'm going to say it before he said, make sure you go over to, if you're not watching on his situation, make sure you go over to The Proper Perspective and subscribe. If you're here, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, like the video, thumb up the video on both stations, leave comments on both sessions. But nonetheless, with no further ado, I'm going to just turn over to the dear brother, Proper Perspective, Professor Shabazz.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, cuz I'm tripping because you give me such good praise. I appreciate that. I'll start off. Hotep to the poor old Black Pan-African world. Big up everybody that knows how to look beyond the smoke and mirrors, because that's kind of like what I do when I start my joints off. It was definitely, the conversations you had with the sister was definitely a needed conversation, and it got kind of heated, like almost from the start. But it's definitely a issue that I was like, yeah, I do want to try to cover this. I do want to try to give a review and see if I can offer anything of value to the topic, to the subject. And I'll start off by saying, I'll start off by trying to say plainly, I was struggling with the conversation, but not because I didn't understand it, and not because I didn't think that, I felt like it's a needful conversation, and the feelings that were being expressed have validity and have value. But at the same time, I felt like I was, or not, I don't want to say feel like, I think that I was struggling with it because the way the words that were chosen implicates, as a Black man, I am implicated in the statement. And so when we talk about Black men, when we talk about patriarchy, when you talk about harm, resentment, oppression, like as a Black man, you're not standing outside of that conversation, whether you're analyzing it or not. you're standing inside that category being discussed, and that has a certain weight to it. It matters because there's a difference between analyzing ideas at a distance and being asked to ingest and metabolize those ideas while being positioned as part of the problem. And that's kind of like, that's what was hitting me. It was like a gut punch. And so I'm like, I'm not trying to flatten anybody's pain. I'm not trying to deny anybody's pain. And I hope, at least to some extent, I'm not like playing favorites and choosing sides. Although I would understand if somebody said I'm choosing sides. But I just wanted to I wanted to be able to slow down, ask the question or ask some other questions to try to tease out some other ideas, I guess. Because for me, it's like, what happens when the person being asked to hold the weight of this thing, and it's delivered in such a way where you are nothing but the absolute poster child of the bad guy. You're morally destabilized. It's like you're telling a person is carrying an inherited blame before the conversation begins. It's a loaded accusation. And I'm like, that's where it's a part of the whole gender war discourse. And I'm not trying to take sides, but there's been such a volume of information laid out there against the Black men. Whether they want to admit it or not, I'm just like, okay, we got to have nuance is supposed to be the name of the game. And so that was like the mindset that I had when I started, like, as I was watching the conversation and listening and taking it in. But then still, when I went to sit down and think about it and try to ingest it, I'm just like, it brought up memories of conversations I've had with other Black women, and like, if the shoe were on the other foot, I really, like, okay, maybe I'm taking sides. If the shoe were on the other foot, I really don't think too many Black women would accept such a accusation or such framing, even if they wanted to say, I'm here, I got an open mind, and I want to hear what you're saying. Like, they wouldn't accept that framing. So not, they'd be like, like, they're gonna walk away from the conversation before they accept that blame and that frame.
Yeah.
And, 6 on one hand, half a dozen on another might be the appropriate adage, or what's good for the goose, good for the gander type of thing. Yeah. And so I'm just like, there was problems for me.
Can I say something for the audience?
Yeah.
All right, just to kind of help us set this
right
ground a little bit. I'm going to go back to what my dear brother cousin is saying here. There was a conversation last week. My dear sister Katora came up in the place and space. First person on Conversations with Dr. Daw. And the title of that episode was Have Black Women Become the New White Men for Black Men? And me and my dear sister Katora had a very, very, let's say, emotional filled, and I guess you would say intellectual filled and type of conversation. And surprising to many, they weren't even prepared for the interpretation of what it means and what it meant for a woman to be seen as the new white man. It was a bit different than what one could even expect. But nonetheless, so dear brother, Baba, proper professor, I guess I can call him Baba.
I ain't no Baba.
Well, you can be a community Baba.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that real quick.
That's how we do it. So he's coming here to do the breakdown, of the conversation. And get what he's doing now is he's going to he's expressing some of his sentiment and his feelings, about the the exchange.
Okay, right. So again, like just overall, I'm like it seemed as though there was what was deeper at play was a conversation about process, capacity, and risk. Especially the risk. And I feel like the risk part, I think that the risk part was at least under evaluated, under assessed, at least from the sister's side of things. Because and a lot of times the things that she was saying was, there were some of her phrases. She's here for the messy, and she wants to lead with the feelings, and the intent is her intent was not to harm or anything like that, and that's cool. But I'm like, at the same time, intent is one thing, but once certain words are thrown out there, and once they enter the public space, the intent is not necessarily, it's not always as important as the effect. And so I'm like, now I would, I would play, if you could pull it up, I would play that first clip just again so we can frame the continuation of the conversation, I guess.
Yeah, and I thank you for that. And I also want to know that what me and Professor Shabazz said we would do is we open this conversation up to others. And I do on one hand do agree that we do need to have these conversations. That's one thing I do agree with the dear sister, but I'm not sure about what if I really wanted to ask her, what do you mean by, to me, that what do you mean by the messy? If I thought about it during the conversation, but I don't think I actually ever, I could be wrong, but I don't think I ever asked that question. But here's the clip. It says, as much as it hurts me to say this, I'm finally willing to admit this to myself. The level of resentment that Black women are feeling from our Black men have us feeling like we've become the new white man. For Black men, let me back up again. Let me say that all in together. The level of resentment that Black women are feeling from our men have us feeling like we've become the new white men for Black men. The people they envy, the ones they want to emulate, but truly hate. Yeah, I said it. I'm gonna say that again. I gotta put some emphasis on it. I think that, yeah, I said it. Come for me if you like. Come for me if you like.
Come for me if you like. Here.
So we coming. You want to start or you want me to start?
Oh no, I mean I'm taking the back seat. I'm just gonna fill in the gap. Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So you heard the clip, and that was the statement. She posted it on Facebook and et cetera, and it got it got the ball rolling. But this is where, and I think if I remember correctly, I think Dr. Dahl was saying something in the conversation that in the comment, not the Facebook thing, but in the YouTube conversation. One of the things that I think you were trying to consistently get through to her, or at least to the audience, is that intent does not cancel impact. And I sort of made a reference to it already. Again, and sometimes I like to try to think of adages or whatever. And I'm like, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I'm like, I'll give another example. A bridge can be designed with good intentions, but if it collapses, if people still die, your intentions just don't cut it. We understand what your intent was, but your impact you could do way more damage. Like I said, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Once a statement like this enters the public space, if it is wrongly worded, wrongly delivered, there is no therapy in it. There is no therapeutic impact. You know, it becomes narrative forming. It locks people into, I would say, almost like a stereotype, but it locks people into certain positions, certain profiles, characterizations. And then, you know, once you get put in that type of a cage, well, we all know how caged animals respond. And so there's risk in literally just using the wrong words, no matter what. Like if you're in the middle of a fight with somebody, like a man and a woman, the husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and if all the emotions are supercharged, the words coming out, y'all not gonna solve nothing, because the words are coming out wrong. And so I'm like, the words that she was using, like somebody in the chat, Robin Carter. Now, I'm not trying to cast aspersions, but she put it in the chat. She says that sister is hurt and has some underlying unawareness. Hey, I'm not no counselor, so I can't inform that. But the words that you use are always charged, and the elders would say, you get more with vinegar. No, you get more with honey than you do vinegar. And so if you really want to have a conversation, then you have to stand back, plan, plot, and strategize, and you try your best to use words that are going to get at that conversation. Like you can have a 1 hour conversation and 45 minutes is based on clarifying your disrespectful tone and terms, and then you ain't really have a conversation. But that's, at least for that's what I wanted to say about that clip. I'm not denying that there are problems between black men and black women. I'm not rubber stamping the notion that either side are the oppressor. I'm not going to rubber stamp that. I'm not co-signing that. I can't sign up. I can't, that's, to me, that word in particular has a whole lot of meaning in our community.
Which word is that?
Oppressor.
The new white man.
The new white man. I just, one of the thoughts that came to me, okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because I think in some way you can call it an oppressor. And I think that's the way that most people thought that the word usage was intended to express. But from my analysis, and I could be off a bit because I didn't go as deep and look at it as maybe more recent. But what surprised me was when I asked her what she meant by the new white man, she said pretty much that a black man would leave his job in the white man's system. And that system is the new role that the black woman is taking on. So in other words, it's not the white man that is oppressing the black man. It's the system that the black man actually envies. The system that the black man actually, so this is the such position is that black men envy white men or the system. They emulate the system, but they truly hate that system. So even when I was talking about it last week and I was letting some things slide because it was like, well, I'm talking about the women's feelings, but no, this post speaks about a different people's feelings. And so now you castigate these different feelings on both men and women. It was not only women feelings in this particular post. When you look at it, the women feel like that they are the new white man. So it's saying that black men envy, they envy the white man, that they emulate the white man, but they truly hate the white man, and hence by proxy, or the new white man is the woman, and she feels like she's taking on that role where this man envies her, He
Mhm.
emulates her, but he truly hates her.
Right.
So, and again, it's a feeling. But the issue that came up for me, and I think you're articulating it, is that most women don't feel that way. I looked at the research. Most black women don't feel that way, and definitely most black men don't feel that way about women, about their sisters. And so what confused me is that what she said was basically that these men have left their jobs, and now pretty much, if I had to put straight talk to it, is that they're now leeching off of the black woman, and that this is what men do. And she said, and sometimes that was the most the one of the best words. It was like, and sometimes they do this and they don't look for jobs. They smoke weed, they drink alcohol, they play their video games, and expect to live off that black woman without any real goals or any traction towards their goals. So now the generalization piece is black men and black women. When you say that, and I'm gonna turn it back over to you. When you say black men, this is a lesson. When you say black men feel this way or black women feel this way, my only argument is that some feel that way.
Right.
But when you say when you say that black men feel this way or black women feel that way, this way, we have to be more specific and say some of us feel this way. And really, if that change, if that bit of information was acknowledged, there wouldn't even been too much to debate about.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. Like, it's when you choose your words and when you use your words, if you're doing, I think what they call it, hasty generalizations, and you're painting with a wide brush, you know, okay, if you want to do it to get attention, that's one thing, shock jocks. But if you want to have the real honest conversation, you have to be able to step back and say, okay, now that I got your attention, let me, what I really meant was, and then you might be able to move forward. But if you stand ground, no, this is all. This is most. This is really what it is. Again, I just don't see how you're gonna you're not gonna get to the actual conversation. Where people really would want to have a conversation about that issue. Like, okay, you're married and you got a job and he got a job, and all of a sudden he decides he just can't take working for those people anymore in whatever way, shape, form that pops up. Okay, that's a real thing. But you talk about that thing. You don't say, well, he done left his job, now he like every other black man smoking weed. Come on now.
And
so go ahead.
That's not, let's be clear. That's how it lands. That you're like every other man smoking weed. When you use terms like black men, that's just a very blanket statement. So what you did was put in, clarified it more about how it lands when you use such verbiage.
Right. And so, again, it's like, and I may repeat this again, but because I'm not saying that how you feel doesn't matter. Like the way you feel about a thing, a person, an incident, what have you. Yes, it matters. And you're allowed, to some extent, you are allowed to express how you're feeling. But at the same time, if you do you want to just, I say this to people, do you want to just get it off your chest? Or do you want to get to a solution or a resolution? Now, if all you want to do is just get it off your chest, scream bloody murder, and keep it moving. But don't act like you want a solution. Feelings matter, but and I'm not sure if you said this in the video, but as much as feelings matter and as much weight as we want to put on feelings mattering, accuracy matters. And accuracy itself is a form of self-care. Like, you can't get to the root and the heart of a problem if you're not going to be accurate about what the problem is. And so I'm like, an example, like, think about a patient talking to a doctor. The words you use when you go into that office and you're sitting on the bed or whatever it is, and you're describing your pain. Well, the words that you use matter, not emotionally, but that doctor, he or she cannot diagnose. They cannot be diagnostic with you effectively if your words are not accurate. If you describe your pain as throbbing, then the doctor starts looking, oh, that sounds like a vascular issue. We need to look at the vascular system, the inflammatory causes, and maybe you need this, that, and the other. But if you describe, your problem is tingling, that's another whole thing. Now they got to look at the neurological. Those words, the words you choose send that doctor into different paths. So if the language is imprecise, even if it's not intentional, and I don't mean to say everybody has to be you don't have to be a wordsmith, but you do have to think about your terms, because if the language you use is imprecise, then the treatment, the conversation is going to be misdirected. And that doesn't mean like your doctor don't care about you. That don't mean that you are lying as a patient. That just means, what do they say? I think like in some like maybe computer science type stuff, they say garbage in, garbage out. Wrong description leads to the wrong response. Then later when you go ahead,
you lead me to think of something that came up during the conversation. Now I think I lost it, but let me see if I can find it. You were talking about the feelings, and you were talking about how if you misappropriate, the words are essential. And one thing that came up in my mind was this one phrase. It was like, well, the women that I work with, and I asked them this question. The question is, do you feel like you're the new white man? So now, from my psychotherapeutic lens, I'm asking, why are you asking that question? Now, I can see how someone could ask that question. I can also see how that will be what we call a reflection of emotion, of one's emotion. Now, the problem is when you ask that as a question, it then becomes a leading question. And you have to be very careful in the questions you ask your clients or your patients or your mentees. And I also think not only is it a leading question, I think it's also misleading. And the reason why I would say I believe it's a misleading question is that when I heard what was meant by is black woman the new white man, I don't think majority of the population would have thought that was what was meant by that. Because typically, as I said in the interview or the conversation, is that I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting you to say that black men feel oppressed by the new white man, not that you feel like you're leeching off of the new white man, because black men in general, I don't think that they would say, I'm leeching off the white man. I think most black men, and this is thinking, we can do a survey, that most black men would say, the white man has been exploiting them, their labor. Especially when you're talking about socially conscious people. When we talk, like, I don't think black men feel like they're leeching off anybody's system. So, so to use that as a reflection of emotion or a question, I think again is not only a leading question, it's also misleading and reflecting the very emotion that I'm thinking is trying to get to.
Exactly. It's funny. That's like the perfect phrase, the leading question. Because what jumped into my mind is like, you watch those law TV shows or whatever, and they'll say something, and the opposite side will jump and say, "Objection, judge, leading the witness." That's the wrong. You can't. Again, you word your question. It even in like in research fields.
Mhm.
You design your research questions and you throw them out there, and
Mhm.
your professors or your peer reviews, they'll look at your questions
Mhm.
and be like, you got to start over. You designed this wrong. And that's what that's speaking to. And the other thing is, yeah, I don't know if I'm right. I mean, I don't know if I'm right about anything, but when she made that comment, the one that you were talking about, where she asked, the people at her job. Now, one, I'm like, okay, even that, if you would have taken that as, if that's so, let's say that's your sample size or whatever. But shouldn't you then, when you come to the front stage, if you're only talking about the people you work with,
Well, let's be
shouldn't
clear.
you sort of encapsulate that as, I'm not saying all black men, I'm
Yeah,
saying the
this is how
spouses
someone,
of,
the
you
women that
know,
I work with, the women that
right.
I not necessarily work with like a job. When they say work with, as a,
Okay.
if you remember, she said, "Brother, I'm a Yoruba Pieces brother." So I believe
Okay.
what she meant by that are those people that she counseled.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then the other sister in the chat also said the same. She, who's part of her Elay, I would
Uh-huh.
believe, also said the women that I asked the question to also say the same thing. And they said all the women. I said all the women, and then it was like, yes, all women I asked this question say they feel this way. And then I said all, and then she came back and said, well, besides one. And but then the sister in the chat was like, well, all of the women, she said the same thing. Like all the women I work with, why are you asking women this question? This is a leading question.
Right.
In fact, I think it's not, again, it's not a real good reflection of emotion. Reflecting emotion is a basic counseling skill.
Mhm.
It's so I could be wrong, but do you feel like let's give an example. Do you feel used? Do you feel that he's taking advantage of you? Do you, like, these are all appropriate ways? Like, I could be wrong. Do you feel like he's leeching off you, even like you, like you can say these things, but to
Mhm.
say, well, do you feel, now to ask the question, like, do you feel like the new white man? And then the result be that means that means that you feel like this man is leeching off of you. To me, that's an insult to black men. Because I don't think black men feel like they're leeching off the white man. Now, I would think, I would actually say, well, I could agree more that some black men are leeching off of the black woman.
Okay. I was gonna go there because I would agree. Like, it's hard to say. It's very challenging to try and show and prove how black men are leeching off of the white man or the system or whatnot. Because that's, come on now. But again, I'm not saying that there isn't a problem between black men and black women, whether it be in general or in particular. The black men and black women, like she said, if you use that profile, the black man that quits his job, or if you use the generic profile, the brothers that's just I don't know, house hopping, they just jumping into relationships so they'll have a roof over their head. Oh, okay, but again, one, clarify that that's who you talking about. Clarify so everybody know you ain't talking about the rest of the community. But then again, still, you can have that conversation about, if the brother quit without a plan, that might be an issue.
Mhm.
But maybe there should have been a plan. But I might still struggle with whether or not he's leeching. But I can give grace to say if he quit without a plan and it's been a year, since he quit.
Now, again,
Okay.
I think you can debate that, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, to go along with the way that she approached it, and I agree with it on that level,
Uh-huh.
that this wasn't whether or not it's a fact. This was
Mhm.
about the way. Now, I'm reflecting the feeling. So
Right.
when I say, well, do you feel like he's leeching off of you? And maybe there's brothers, and I did say something after. So basically, like, can I empathize, or can I see how black women,
Mhm.
some black women feel like black men are leeching off of them? I can see
Right.
how that is without all the facts or the reasons, similar to what she was saying last week on that
Mhm.
individual level.
Right.
But this is not how most black women feel, or this is not how most black men operate. So
Right.
again, I do get it on an individual level that there are women. I have sisters, I work with them every day.
Mhm.
And basically they feel, and it's and it's not just a feeling sometimes. I mean, it's a reality even, that some brothers do, and that some brothers do find ways, and this is not really to have the woman take care of them, in a sense, without them doing. I mean, it could be a plethora of reasons why. It could be
Right.
that they're depressed. It could be that it could be all types of things. But I understand the feeling.
Right.
Now, the
I definitely understand that.
rationale behind it, that's a whole nother conversation, and I think is one to be had.
Right. And that's the thing that I was trying to get across is
Mhm.
the conversation needs to be had.
Mhm.
That's like I'd be a fool if I tried to say anything other than that. Again, it's precise language. I think something like what is this? Robin Carter just put something in the chat, and I think she's speaking to the idea of, that all may be true, these problems and these issues, but to compare that to the system of the white man, no comparison. It's an insult to our ancestors.
Mhm.
And again, for me at least, the fact that it is a sister saying this to counterbalance what that sister said, to me says something. Because at least at one point, that and you made mention of it in while y'all in that discussion, you made mention of the fact that, or the notion that, she stepped into something that, at least online, there's this long-standing gender war campaign, and she sort of just unknowingly, unintentionally, she just dropped off a powder keg in the middle of that. And so I'm just, again,
What is that? She dropped. I'm not that intelligent. Please help me. A powder keg.
A stick of dynamite, a hand grenade.
Okay.
Just lit a new fire. Like, you already got these fires raging.
But what's the word?
And you threw gasoline on.
I want to learn the new word. I want to add a word to my vocabulary. What is it? A powder keg?
Powder keg. Yeah. It's
spell it
basically
like
it's just POWDER, and second word KEG.
Okay.
It's like it's literally like a inflammable TNT dynamite type thing.
Okay, cool.
And it'll go off, if you throw a powder keg into like a hot room or a fire.
So you saying she let off a stick of dynamite in between the ideas that she's adding to the gender wars that's already going on?
That's the way that's the way I was like, taking it, analyzing it, looking at it, you know, because at least online, and now I'll be the first to say, you know, tempers rage online maybe a little bit more excessively than they do in real life. But online, it seems like there's it's high stakes, it's supercharged emotions with everybody on every topic that there is. But there's all this what is red pill manosphere stuff on one side, and then you got the sisters, I think they call them divestors.
Oh, okay.
You know, and it is all fueled off of this idea that the problem between the black man and the black woman is, and then everybody is laying out they're using terminology that is offensive and aggressive and hurtful. And ain't nobody and nobody's having a real conversation. And that's what her phrasing seemed to just start it all up again. Like, not that it ever died away, but it's like say again.
No, I was about to say, like, it didn't start it again, it just added to it.
It just added, yeah.
So
go ahead.
No, I was just wondering. So this gender, and the reason why I brought up during the conversation, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. If I just had to be honest with you, I'm in it, but I'm trying to figure out, like, is this I'm like, this conversation isn't quite going the way that I thought it would go, because it's not about what it seemed as if it was about. So I'm in the middle of it. I'm like, what is going on here? I'm like, what is going on? So one thing I realized is that it collapsed to feelings. But there was a post, and the post itself said, bring your receipts. If you don't bring your receipts or bring your evidence. And I'm sitting there like, what is going on? Because I don't know if it was intentional. I hope it wasn't. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, how are we keeping this to feelings now? I had to like process it in my mind, but you said bring receipts, because you're now saying it's just feelings, but you also said bring receipts. But when I brought receipts, now you want to laugh at the receipts.
Yeah.
And you now want to downplay the receipts. And the sister in the chat, you know, of her Elay also downplayed. Well, you know, Pew Research is not real. Like, and even when you're saying I'm not trying to do this thing, you literally are, from my feelings and my assessment is that the attempt to disqualify the evidence in of itself was trying to support the very notion that black men feel like this about black women, or black women feel like this about black men in general. Because other than that, it could have been easily stated that I'm not saying most, I'm just saying some. But even when you say, even if it was said, then you'll go back to say something that kind of say, well, I'm not, I said one time, I said, so I said something about the data, about the article. I was like, do you understand what I'm saying? She said, yes, brother, you are showing me your data. you are showing me the data. You're giving me the data.
She was definitely, she didn't, again, like you said, bring the receipts, then you bring receipts and they want to discredit the receipts. And she really, she really got into her feelings with defensiveness about you bringing receipts.
But rearrange the conversation now, because you said bring receipts. Now you saying I'm not worried about receipts. I am talking about feelings. I'm not worried about receipts, but you put out you say bring the receipts, you say bring the data, bring the evidence, and then you say no, this is not about evidence. I make room for feelings. But why did you say bring the evidence then?
Mhm.
And then in some ways, almost like you're acting like you didn't say that. I'm here for it.
Mhm.
That's what I'm here for the messy. I didn't do a good enough job of saying, I thought about it again. I didn't do a good enough job to say, so what is the messy? And
Right.
what are you here for? But I did. She said for anything to come from it. But then there was this other argument that said, well, I want my rest of my posts get no play pretty much.
Mhm.
So this was another line of thought. The rest of my posts don't get too much play. So this was intentional to stir up some mess.
That's why I'm saying about how you choose your words. I mean, and I'm like, hey, shout out to anybody that leans into the shock jock territory. Like,
Yeah.
was that's what you do. But the thing is, most shock jocks own their shock jockism. They don't act like a shock jock and then decide, oh, let me take it back. They just and maybe that's what she did. Maybe she just stayed into the shock jock type of thing. But if you ask people to if you ask people to come with the smoke, and then when the smoke show up, you don't want the smoke. There's an issue there. Like,
And
why
then
did you
try
ask
to
for the
make
smoke?
then try to make like really skillfully say,
Mhm.
see, brother, I'm looking at feelings and you are not. And I'm sitting there like, what is going on here? I deal with feelings. Go ahead. Look, I want to hear what you got to say.
No, well, I understand that you're looking at feelings,
Mhm.
but if you go down the rabbit hole of feelings,
Mhm.
then again, okay, so then you don't want solutions. You just want to bathe in the feelings. Or pretty soon, you eventually got to get out the bath. You got to dry off and deal with that which is outside the feelings. If all you do is just live in the feelings.
Well, I'm not sure if that part was clear. Just to be kind of fair. I'm not sure. I mean, I think I can see where that feeling comes from. But again, I try to look at the data that's available. And the data that was available is that basically, I don't think there was ever a time when she said there was times where it sounded like she was saying, I'm not trying, like she said, it's almost like she was saying two things. Like, I'm through the feelings, the healing comes about. Like, if you listen back to it, it's almost like she said, once I allow them to have space, and then they are heard, there's healing in that. And I say, yeah, I get that. But to me, I know that's not true though. I know that for that catharsis without insight is not therapeutic. But let's see if we can frame this, because we're moving at a certain speed. I know we're here for a little while, and I know you got other clips. And then we also said we will bring some people into the chat. So how you want to do this?
We can move into the third clip, or we can jump to the fourth one. It's up to you.
Okay, you want to go to the fourth clip or the third clip? Okay.
Let me see, because the third one, she said something about somewhere in there she said something about she want to see us have enough emotional resilience to have our story without disclaimers. You want
me to go there?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Third one.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, let me see. Hold on. Is it my first? Oh, that's the first clip. Second, third. That wasn't my response to the post, but go ahead.
What I would like to see happen, whenever we are talking about our experiences, our real experiences about each other, that each of us have enough emotional resilience to allow one of us to have our story without needing to speak the disclaimers of, well, this is not everybody, or I know I got my own stuff too. Well, what I would like to see,
we have to.
I see that's what we do all the time, but this is why I'm saying I would like to see us have enough resilience to really debate and not spend the time, if you're really going to have a debate, adding disclaimers. Because first of all, disclaimers take time. And if we already know the disclaimers, then the only reason why we're still saying them, well, I think that we do, because we never say anything. We can't have any genuine discourse about one individual's experience without hosting the hurt and pain of the other person. What I would like to see is that we have enough emotional resilience for a man to be able to talk about whatever his pain is without the woman saying, me too, but you're not the only one.
Is that the clip?
Yeah, that was a clip. Well, let me say, like, I feel what she is saying. I really do. And I think, like, to some extent, if it's a one-on-one, or if even in a therapeutic environment where, you know, there's the counselor and the two people involved, I might can say, yo, I mean, hell, it ain't none of my business. Yeah, y'all duke it out. But if it's in a public space, I just don't see that that's how you end up with the gender wars. So I'm like, I understand the argument that she's making, but the resilience that she's asking for, resilience is not infinite. Like, we're human. We don't have an infinite amount of resilience. And when you position somebody, the black man, either implicitly or explicitly as an object, as a system, as an oppressor, again, everything is still tied back to the way in which she characterized and the way in which she defined. And when you say that we're the oppressor, you cannot assume that there's still going to be psychological surplus required to hold space for resilience and neutrality. That assumption, and to make that assumption, is not compassion. That you're overloading. And that's the way you decompress the overload, is the disclaimers, the brief parenthetical matters, to dilute the pain, or not to dilute the pain, but to prevent misdirection. So, this doesn't apply, this isn't real. You don't have to, you could just say, this does not describe all black men, but it does describe a pattern. Some people have encountered, some people have documented data that it needs to be addressed. Because just a small, like, disclaimers help. Disclaimers stabilize the audience. Without the disclaimers, you just gonna have a whole bunch of people in the audience getting mad.
You make me think of, and I brought the example up, and I appreciate what you're saying here. So it's kind of like me having a couple on the couch. I kind of like, I want to visit what you're saying here. It's like saying, well, I'll let one client say all they have to say, and the other person just has to shut up so I asked the question, until when? Like, when is enough? You know what I mean? Like, so when do you believe that now it's essential for the therapist to step in and say, I hear what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying, and this is what she's saying, and this is what he's saying. Or you just let one person come in? I'm talking about you on an individual level, and you just let them just go off forever. And now the person just has to sit there and listen to all these things. I do think there is an art, and I agree with her that it is essential that we get to hear the person out, but everything has limits.
Right. There has to be interjection, and because even if you just sit, if you sit there in that like analogy or situation. If the counselor is just sitting there, even if both parties are simply allowed to go back and forth and if you're just gonna sit there and let them duke it out verbally, okay, yeah, that's messy. That's messy. That's leaning into feelings.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the hour session or whatever, what? Like they walking out the building still
And I let
mad.
them, and I do let them do that for a little while.
Okay.
I let
For
them do
what
it.
I'm saying, you
I let-
eventually you interject.
Yeah, because I want to see what their communication pattern looks like when I'm not
Mhm.
there. And then I
Okay.
learn from what you call the messy. But again,
Mhm.
that's a different type of messy. What my dear sister is saying, and I agree there's a place and a point in time for that as well, where people get to say things without disruption.
Right.
But that is not, and it was almost stated as if that was the approach, right?
Mhm.
And people come to these conversations and have different types of personalities and different types of places where they are, and they need different things. That doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
It doesn't work for two couples. But again, getting back to the conversation though, see, it was so easy to get off course because we weren't talking about an individual's feelings, but that is where the conversation kept going. But the
Uh-huh.
reality is the conversation is about this post that I'm saying is what I was arguing, what I still argue is irresponsible. And reason why I say it's irresponsible is that, I mean, it's not like other people aren't doing it, but you're you're just adding to the gender wars and the mess. So, and that's what I articulated. There's already the messy is already going on. There's already these, what do you call them? The manosphere, and then what's the sister side? The
the divestors.
The divestors or what have you. That's already going. They have these spaces right now already where they just speak to each other in their echo chambers.
Right.
They just, and there's nothing to disrupt their thought that is already, because there's a difference on a social platform or in social spheres. I think that we need to learn to be more clear, or leave it up to the professionals.
Right.
But
That's what China's doing.
Huh?
That's what China's doing.
I mean, that was a lot of subliminal things going on too afterwards, like saying, well, indirectly calling me an intellect, and intellects priests need to teach intellect things, and and I would respond, and then so that would be a response to that. So I have enough evidence. I feel like there was some some shots being taken at me. It was one post. I'm hoping it wasn't a shot at me. So saying I'm being tyrannical or something like that. I'm just hoping.
I think I saw a couple of those, and I did. It hit. It hit. I'm like, that sound like a shot. It sound like a shot.
But it's a process.
It is a process.
And I'm saying I'm, and guess what I'm gonna say? And I'm here for it. Because it's not about me. It's about even this right here. I'm talking about with my dear sister, with you, with anybody who comes on today. It's really about this process of healing. So we do have to deal with this.
Right.
Respectfully, I would say.
Right.
Because there does need to be an education, because some people don't know about these manospheres and these divestors and how social media posts can cause issues.
Right.
Because again, as I said, it's already enough of that going on social media. What's not going on social media as much is what we're talking about. It's
responsible, right?
Yeah, like yeah, it's two sides of this thing. And I'm not saying that, I'm saying that we can all learn to respect each other's feelings. We can or at least understand each other's feelings and acknowledge each other's feelings. And then we can get to some of the work, which is saying, okay, this is how you feel. And sometimes your feelings align with what's going on. But other times it is just not so.
Right.
And what I hear when people say, not my dear sister per se, but I hear many people speak about feelings, and that's my feelings. I mean, grown men, grown women. It's my feelings. It's my feelings. You're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. I've heard people say that. And I'm like, well,
Mhm.
it's not that I'm not listening to you. I just don't agree.
Right.
And
Right.
and people like, so no one has to agree with your feelings.
Right.
And also, it's also been from my own work clinically, what I've noticed is that people who speak about feelings being so important feel like they've been shut down. And sometimes, and lots of times, that has to do with way before you met this man or way before you met this woman. As a child, you felt like I couldn't talk.
Right.
Or maybe in a past relationship. But typically it's developmental. Because if you ever notice what happens with people who feel not with quite a few people who speak like their thoughts and they without filter, they feel like they have been, or their experience has been that they've been quieted in their youth.
Right.
So now they say too much. And I call that overcorrection, because there is a need for a filter.
Right.
What you got?
I mean, I've seen that type of thing. I'm like, I was never necessarily, I wasn't trained enough like to manage it. I was trained enough to recognize it and be like, okay, I got to get myself out of this conversation. But you know, this again, the for me, the whole thing is, if you do way too much leaning, if you do too much leaning into these feelings, then you don't want to fix it. And my thing is, I would like it to be fixed. I would like there to be, Black men and Black women coming online saying, positive things about each other, not trying to destroy each other. Go ahead.
And I will debate that a little bit.
Okay.
Because I mean, and I don't even think that's what you mean, what I'm about to debate, but when I don't really, no, this is just my thoughts. I don't really think we need to come online just talking positive stuff about each other. I think we need to really deal with what's real. So if it's real, like, positive can be a lie as well. Like, you come on and you just saying, I feel good and I don't feel good. Or, I love all Black men, but I hate all Black men. Or I love all Black women, but I hate Black women. Or, so I don't just want to hear positive. I want to hear what's real. Now, let me give you this one, because I'm not sure if you saw this, but my dear sister, she put a post up. She put a beautiful post up the other day. It was very beautiful. I had to like it and commend her for it. And today she actually put out a post. I think it was today. It's my birthday, y'all. Give me some love. Give me some love.
Show Dr. Dawes some love.
Yeah, give me some love.
Show Dr. Dawes some love.
You look. Y'all can send some. Look, let me stop.
Yeah, I was about to say, put your Cash App on the screen. Put your Cash App on the thing.
Yeah. So this is a post, and I agree with it. My dear sister Katora says, this is today, you cannot find the truth if you collapse feelings with facts.
Wow.
Be sure that I'm not making it up. I agree with her.
I agree with her too. Like, I don't know why you didn't lead with that in the other post, but
well, she said that was for a reason. So was it? It could have just been for that reason.
Okay, and that's cool. But
it didn't seem like it was just for that reason. I get it.
Right. So,
it's another one she put up today.
See, I can't see that one. We believe truth tellers when they inspire us, not when they are a threat to our illusions. Mm. Ha! That's deep.
Hmm.
Not when they are a threat to our illusions. Okay, you want to unpack that?
I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it
Uh,
much, but you sound like it hit you.
I mean, it does, but like I do my unpacking like
Okay, I
offline.
get. We believe truth tellers when they inspire us, not when they are a threat to our illusion. So these are two different posts today, and I'm not sure.
uh,
That right there is very vague, right? I mean, a lot of the posts are vague.
mhm.
So it could be one of those posts to say what you get out of it is what you get out of it.
Right.
Because on one hand, someone can say we believe truth tellers when they inspire us,
Mhm.
not when they are a threat to our illusion. So that could be more of the same argument that we're having, saying
That's what
that
I was about to say. Go
saying
ahead.
that what I'm saying, what I said last week was more of a threat to illusion. Instead of trying to threaten or clear up the illusion, why don't you inspire us? It also
Mhm.
could say, it also could be a critique.
Mhm.
And the critique could
Right.
be, we believe truth tellers when they inspire us. Now, inspire is not necessarily looked at as a negative word typically, but people do inspire us, and sometimes they inspire us in some very vindictive ways. Like, for example, your many times pastors inspire us
Uh-huh.
and they manipulate us,
Mhm.
and they don't
Yeah.
become a threat to our illusions. So now,
Wow.
and to me, it can go both
Uh-huh.
ways. And
Yeah.
perhaps it's one of those type of statements that she intended to go both ways. But
Mhm.
um now my but that with the other post basically said that feelings should not collapse as facts. That type of thing. So I'm not even
Right.
sure, that I have some thoughts, but nonetheless, what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying is I think that there's some ambiguity here. So I
Mhm.
can't be so clear what was meant. I have some ideas, but I do think it does. No, the way I interpret that first one, though, you cannot find the truth if you collapse feelings with facts. Now, to me, that seems very clear. But I can also see how
Yeah.
people can write a thing and sometimes not also be clear on what they're saying. So to me, that would be like supporting what happened last week.
That's what I was gonna say. Like that
Mhm.
one, that one's like a dagger to her own argument,
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, and it's cool. It's not like it doesn't have to be, or it could be intentional or whatnot, but it does suggest that, you know, well, I can't say it suggests I can't speak to her mindset, but it does underscore the point that we're saying about, if what is it? What is the word? If you I forget the word, but if you bathe in the feelings too long,
Mhm,
you
mhm,
know, you're marinating that stuff way too long,
mhm.
then the facts become unimportant.
So
But do you want to let people come up, or we ain't got to
okay,
keep going because
okay. I was also wondering, you didn't want to hit on any more of these clips then?
we don't have to. I'd rather like get some other people to come in and
Okay,
see, and
so family,
see, hopefully.
we're gonna put a link in the chat. If you come up, please, we would prefer camera, but if you can't get on the camera, what we would do, we'll put you on the side somewhere, or we'll or something. With, I don't know. Well, maybe we can deal with it today. Let me go here. All right, the chat is in the chat is in the. I mean, the link is in the chat. Don't
The
hold
link is
back.
in the
Don't.
the link is in the chat. Don't hold back.
Yep. Don't hold back. We hope, but I would like to say that I appreciate one thing I really appreciated about her is her ability to stay in there in the conversation,
Right.
stand in there in the conversation, because I think she really was in a way demonstrating to a degree what she was talking, that we need to have these messy conversations and not backing down, not becoming like utilizing it, like she really did a great job at us having some really good back and forth and
Right.
things like
That's
that.
true.
That would,
No, I'm saying, go ahead. That's true.
yeah. I
I was gonna
don't.
ask, when it comes to this kind of a conversation,
Mhm.
like, is there a way for both sides to put some terms on the table where we can agree? And I'm not necessarily the disclaimer type terms, but to put some terms on the table where we would agree, if like you made reference to, or and maybe she did too, the leeching thing. So are there some terms that we can put on the table and say these are the terms that we should be using in trying to not just describe the feelings, or not, but to identify the problem that should be discussed, if not worked on? Like, because again, I'm not trying to downplay any person who says they feel a way. I'm trying to pivot from feeling like I'm your oppressor. But I don't want to pivot from you feel like I'm not carrying my load, I dropped the ball, or I'm being disrespectful, or whatever. So I'm just like, are there some terms that we can get thrown into the conversation so that people don't, I don't know, knee jerk to these corrosive terminologies?
Are you saying there should be some terms off the table that we can agree upon?
I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying. I'm asking. Is that possible? Is that feasible? Only because, like I said, I don't want it to come off like you're wrong for saying that you feel, quote unquote, taken advantage of. Like, under the idea that, okay, like the word oppressor, I feel like that's a wrong word. The qualifications, the envy, the jealousy, and the hate, I feel like those are the wrong words. But if you're still trying to say I have harmed you, then what would be the more appropriate words for someone to use, so that, or for a black woman to use, so that the black man would then be like, okay, well, tell me how, what did I do? Again, if the idea I'm trying to express is, if a black woman says, I feel like you my oppressor, or I feel like you think I'm your oppressor, that conversation ain't gonna go nowhere.
Well, I mean, let's let our dear sister Robin express what she thinks.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure she wants to answer that question, but if you,
well, she don't have to answer that question. That was just, I'm just,
no, I mean, I have a response to it, but if Robin doesn't.
Okay.
Thank you. How you doing? Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. We can hear you.
I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to, I feel y'all sugarcoating. I'm direct. It's inappropriate. The language, for her to even use that, even in, to show it as an example, is inappropriate. I'm not, yeah, those things happen, but that's an individual, you allowing that to happen. you can change that, but don't use it as a situation where it's the new white man. Are you serious? Absolutely not. And I'm speaking as a woman. No, no. Uh-uh.
Why do you say is absolutely not something we should use or sisters shouldn't use in this case?
As far as the white man is concerned, no. Too much history and it doesn't match. It doesn't compare. It doesn't even add up to the whole white man what you call it, suppression or whatever. I'm just confused as to why she even used that as Black women are the new white men to Black males.
What she said, they feel like they're the new white men. When she asks the question, do you feel like the new white man, sister? The sister who she's counseling, the one who's I would assume is hurt by the man that who she is in relationship with. So she asks them, do you feel like, so this is like a counseling skill. You can reflect, you can reflect an emotion, right? You can say, well, do you feel hurt? Or do you feel like, I mean, in this case, the new white man? To me, that is to say that as a professional counselor. And I like to say, with training in spiritually based counseling, because some people want to say is I'm not dealing with spirit and all that type of thing. When you say that, it's a very ambiguous term, because even you're like perplexed by, what does that mean? What is she saying? So one, again, I would say is a leading question. And two, now that it's up to the person to now interpret what is meant by that. So it's a poor reflection of an emotion. It's better to say what was said. Do you feel that the Black man envies you? Do you feel that because in her post, she has it. They envy him, they emulate him, but they truly hate him. So to get to the crux of the conversation, Sister Robin, do you feel that the Black man envies you? Do you feel that he emulates you, but truly hates you?
Absolutely not.
So that would be, those are the feeling words. The white man phraseology is what can throw you off. So, because most people wouldn't think that, none of the descriptions actually explain what I would believe that most Black people think is meant by the new white man. Because most of us don't think about one using the white man or the system, because the new system was stated that the new system is that the Black man has now he's escaped the system because of the oppression. And she was very empathetic about that, and because she said, well, and that's understandable. But then what he does is he comes home and he doesn't do anything. He smokes weed, and I think she said perhaps drinks, and then plays video games all day. So that was one of the descriptions, and not do his part, why the Black woman has to pick everything up, while he sits around and you're looking at him do that. And so one, the generalization is that basically you feel that Black man is leeching off of you. But also, just on the post itself, it said that the post itself, and I never even got there, because it spoke about the feelings that sister, do you feel, because these are real good feeling words. That's better than saying the white man. Do you feel that he envies you? Do you feel that your black man, the black men you've been with, the ones you've been hurt by even, envies you? Do you feel that they emulate you? And do you think, but with all of that, they envy you, they emulate you, but they actually truly hate you? Is that how you feel?
You wait for me to answer that?
No, I'm just saying that would to a proper reflection of feelings and emotions would really be dealing with the feelings and emotion and not the poor metaphor. Because to me, the metaphor, nothing I've heard to date clarified or made like so most people think, I would assume that most people would believe that if I said, Sister Robin, do you feel like the black man is the new white man? I would assume that if you were to answer that, and let's say you said yes, I would assume that you mean that you feel that he's oppressive and he's patriarchal, or that he's oppressive, and vice versa. So if you were to ask me and say, Brother Assad, do you feel like your wife is the new white man? And I say, yeah, I don't think you would think that I felt like she was leeching off of me.
No.
I don't think that you would think that meant that she envies me, she emulates me, but she truly hates me. I think you would think that meant that in either direction, the white man is oppressive, the white man is abusive. It has been abusive to our people. So to me, the very setup of the reflection of feelings is incorrect.
Right.
Is a poor metaphor. You use metaphor in therapy. I mean, I got some books over here, but that is a horrible metaphor, because none of the explanation of what that means, I would assume that most people agree with it.
That's the people that agree with it has to be the ones that aren't educated enough to understand how that metaphor doesn't fit. Who don't know the history of that metaphor.
Now, let's consider that, because maybe there's something there. Because, and not just like, so let's go with that, just to be fair, because we might explore and find that there might be something there. I'm not sure. So you're saying that it would have to be people who are misinformed,
right,
who believe that metaphor.
Yes.
So I will ask the question, do you believe that most black people are that misinformed about their positionality with white men?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, tell me. Well, that means you're gonna have to change it up a bit. So you think that most black people believe they're leeching off the white man?
Nah, that's not what I'm saying.
So you think that most black people envy, emulate, and hate the white man? I just want to be clear.
No, that's not even our nature.
Okay, all right. So you don't. So I don't think you meant absolutely then. I think you're saying most black people know that the white man is oppressive. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. So there's nothing there then from that argumentation.
That the white man is oppressive, right?
Yeah, because I think most black people see the white man as oppressive. Yeah. Even those who you might, whatever levels of education. Brother Proper, I think you have something you want to put up on the stage.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, that's just the question that keeps going over my mind. And again, if I'm being too literal with her terminology, then that's my bad. But again, my question: where is
we need all the minds in this together in a real way. We need to really consider these things in this way. You know what I mean?
So where is the envy and the hate and emulation in the example that she gave? Her example was the brother, the man who he was working, he was holding it down, he quit his job, and without a plan, he just quit. He didn't tell her, he didn't consult her, he just quit his job, and he didn't have a plan for further breadwinning. And she didn't give like a time period, but the next thing you know, he just chilling at the house.
Mhm.
And so again, I'm not saying that those actions are not problematic. Clearly they are. I'm asking, where is the envy? Where is the hate in that example? How is this an example of the black woman being therefore again, and I keep saying it wrong. The black woman being oppressed? No, the black woman feeling like she is the oppressor of the black man.
No. That's what we assume she meant.
That's what we okay. Well, okay. We assume we assume she meant we're assuming she meant at least one of two things, and she could actually have meant a third or a fourth or a fifth thing.
No, I asked her clearly, what do you mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
And she gave two examples, but she also, in her post, she tells you exactly. She tells you what she wrote in her post and what she has here. It says, as much as it hurts me to say this, I'm finally willing to admit this to myself. The level of resentment that black women are feeling from our black men have us feeling like we've become the new white man. For black men, let me back up again. Let me say that all in together. The level of resentment that black women are feeling from our men have us feeling like we've become the new white men for black men. The people they envy, the ones they want to emulate, but truly hate. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, so that part.
Okay.
So I'm being very specific here. There's two things that she offered up. One, what she meant by that, it's in that very statement. And I'll play it again. It says, as much as it hurts me to say this, I'm finally willing to admit this to myself. The level of resentment that black women are feeling from our black men have us feeling like we've become the new white man. For black men, let me back up again. Let me say that all in together. The level of resentment that black women are feeling from our men have us feeling like we've become the new white men for black men. The people they envy, the ones they want to emulate, but truly hate. That one.
Okay.
So in that post, she told you the ones, and again, notice she doesn't say white men. She says the white man, meaning the structure, the system.
Right.
But then she says, the ones they envy, the ones they emulate, but they truly hate. That's what she has written. These are the feelings. Because remember, when you go back to it, she's saying the resentment. So the resentment is that black men resent black women for being this figure that they call the white man. And there's other things I can pull in there, but because they now are the ones who are taking care of everything in the house, they start to become resentful and they envy them. They envy them. They want to emulate them. They want to be them. but not just want to be them, they emulate them. You know what I mean? And then, but they truly hate them. So black men are emulating white men, and in this case, black women. But then on the other side, the other part that she said was this. Again, I just want to be clear that in short, and she didn't disagree with this, she actually agreed that black men are leeching off the system, and the black woman is the new system. There's nothing about oppression here.
Okay.
There was no words of oppression. This was like you're leeching or you're hating. If we put it in those two terms, you're hating or you're leeching. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, so Sister Robin?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand that. So what she's saying is that the new system is the black woman,
Yes,
and that the black man is leeching off the black woman.
absolutely. At least to be more accurate. No. That is what was stated.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what was stated.
Okay.
Because it said, because these brothers leave their jobs and they pretty much depend on this new system. We have to understand the qualifying factor of this particular statement, which made it go away from feelings to facts, is the latter part of the statement that said bring receipts. So it's not that feelings don't matter, but let's see if these are the feelings. Are these the actual feelings? It's not about me. Say it again. And so go ahead.
No, I was saying I follow exactly what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah. So, but the argument tried to go back to, no, I just make space for feelings. No, what we're debating and what you told me to bring receipts for is whether or not these feelings do I have evidence that goes against or what is contrary to what you've stated? And my argument is these are not the majority feelings of black men or black women. Mm-hmm. And you can't say we talking about the sisters' feelings when you name the brothers' feelings in here as well.
All right.
Right.
Not, at least you feel like he feels, because you said he's envious. I mean, he's resentful. So even in that conversation, I was, all right, something ain't adding up here. But in real time, I just realized that the argument was trying to take it away from the receipts and the evidence that you called for and try to act like, and now in some way, honestly, be honest with you, if I had to be honest, it almost felt like a bit of gaslighting.
Yes.
Yeah.
It almost felt like a bit of gaslighting, like, no, brother, I'm not asking you about your evidence. I am not asking you about, oh, you have the data. I know you have your data, but you asked me to bring the data.
I'm looking at the comments, and most people are making some very sharp assessments. And I want to say that, like, the way you clarify it really does. It makes me rethink the so-called the space and the grace that I'm trying to give to the conversation or to her words. And it makes me retract the space and the grace to some extent. But like some of the comments, Invisible Ubermensch is making quite a few insightful comments. One of them is that's why in Django he took out the slaves that were with the master. Some of our people are beyond repair. And then again, Invisible Ubermensch says even Dr. Francis Cress Welsing discussed Black women aligning more with white supremacy compared to Black men because Black men are seen as a threat. We have to have the courage to call it what it is. So I don't know. I was dealing with my own interpretation of her words. And like I said, with the way Dr. Dog breaks it down, I'm like, well, I can't give as much grace as I started out.
Why not?
Well, for one, once you give the clarification, the way you break it down, I'm like, okay, it begs for the data. The way you break it down, it begs for the data. And then what's so bad about that, not only does it beg for the data, for her to dodge the data, make fun of the data, it's like, well, wait a minute. Now something else is going on. Like I was looking at it from a different perspective, so to speak. And I was giving you grace to say, okay, these feelings, they matter. It's just the words that you use. And now I'm like, no, these feelings don't matter if you can't prove that there's some factual truth to it. And when you deny the need for a factual assessment, data, what are you doing?
She did say, brother, I will not debate with your data. Something like that. I will not debate. I will not say your data isn't wrong. But, but then at the same time, my dear sister, one of her Elay sisters said in the post, like, but I mean, she kind of said that at some point in the conversation that data, she just wouldn't introduce it so fast. At some point she got there. And then I said, well, I think you're involving in thought in real time because that's not what was seemingly, I don't think that, now, honestly, my assessment would be that there was not it was just, they want to admit that, you know what, let me rethink this. Or like, or even did I rethink this? Or maybe like, what is going on here? I mean, I'm not trying to assess that much, but she did say this. And I will say that she said, from my experience and other women's experience, she did get to that point. So this could be a very real experience for her. But again, that does not mean that when you speak in these general sweeping generalizations, that is the problem. Is no one's denying. Again, I will not deny your experience, but I will deny whether or not Black men in general see things this way, or Black women see things this way, or Black women feel this way, or Black men feel this way. I think we just have to be more responsible. And to me, this is not about the dear sister, so I don't want to go into this. Is more about what we need to do and how do we deal with this information. Like, because we're here for the messy, meaning that we should continue to have this conversation. And I'm hoping to continue to have this conversations even with my dear sister in the future on some more critical conversations around men and women's relationships. I'm hoping that we can do more of that in the future because I think it is needed. Now, I do believe that we're entering this conversation just because of the little pop shots and things in the passive aggressive things. I do believe that just to be clear, I I would argue that I'm entering this conversation at a different level.
Mhm.
I'm entering this conversation at a level. I am not speaking to my peer. Now, and that became more evident as the conversation unfolded. But
Mhm.
and I'm not trying to one up anybody. But what I am saying is it was clear. And I think it is essential in our community to know when we are out of our fish tank. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that the spiritual way, I am not removed from a spiritual way of looking at this.
Mhm.
I'm not void of that. I am not void of emotions either. I am not void of intellect when I speak to this conversation. I am saying I am using them all. And I'm saying I'm looking at this through a spiritual lens. I'm looking at this through an intellectual lens. I'm looking at this through an emotional lens. I'm looking at this with this through a cultural lens. And I think many times what happens is we refuse to look at these things through cultural lenses and see. And I think, speaking to more what you said, Professor Shabazz, the implications behind this type of rhetoric, the implications, meaning in this case, the is this responsible, and does it help or does it cause more damage? And I think that's how you start this particular episode off.
Mhm.
Now,
Right.
I would argue that this type of rhetoric, and this is the reason why I had the conversation in the first place, online and social media. Let me just be clear. I know that we're not going to stop it, but it doesn't mean that I won't intervene and try to help someone see that this is irresponsible. You know, and if the person is not in their own feelings and they're not dealing with this type of thing on their or struggling with this in their own life, I would imagine that they'll be able to see it. But you know, perhaps not. But the reality is, I want to I think, and I appreciate the conversation. I don't necessarily like the fact that it was thrown out there, but I do appreciate, again, that she entertained or engaged the conversation.
Right.
That's what I do want to say, and that's genuine.
Right.
Sister Robin or Brother Professor Shabazz, anything for you?
I probably got like a little statement, but I wanted to see if Sister Robin is gonna go. Is she still here?
She there, but I'm not sure if she's listening.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
she's
I'm
on
just
mute.
gonna say.
It looked like she just
Okay.
took her off of mic, off of mute. Sister Robin?
Okay.
Oh, well, maybe she
Maybe
didn't.
not. Okay. This is what I'll say, I guess. Then, you know, kind of sort of like maybe as a closing comment or something along those lines, because again, or just a resummaration, I'm like, again, what I'm not saying is avoid the conversation. I'm not saying that. The idea is, it's not about whether or not any individual, either side of the coin, has the right to express themselves. And if you feel pain, then you have a right, you have a responsibility to speak on that pain.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a responsibility to frame your speech. You have a responsibility to make sure that it lands the way it needs to land if you
Mhm.
want solutions. And what capacity anybody involved has, like the listener. Something I used to have to like teach in the literature classes that I, you know, you have to take into account the listener, the audience. So you can't just say whatever you want, however you want, just because you got the right and you got freedom and stuff like that. The listener, do you want the information to land, or do you just want to talk? So at what point does expression stop being cathartic? And at what point does it?
Brother Shabazz? Sister Robin, did Brother Shabazz go out? I'm not sure, or did I go out? Family, can you still hear me? Or is it
Public spaces without suppressing lived experiences? And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. It like,
Hey, Brother Shabazz, you kind
Go
of,
ahead.
I think you went out.
I probably did. Shucks.
and
I
you,
don't know
you've
where I
come back.
was. Okay, I guess I'm back now. I don't know where I went out at, but let me see if I can. What I was trying to say was, okay, I'm not trying to, rehash or relitigate everything, but the focus should not be on whether or not pain should be expressed. I automatically say anybody's pain should be expressed, and you have a right to express your pain. But how it's framed and who it lands on and what capacity you assume the listener has should also be a part of your conversation, your monologue, your dialogue, or whatnot. And so the question that I ask is, at what point does expression stop being cathartic and start becoming corrosive? And so how do we surface collective resentment without collapsing individuals into symbolic oppressors? And how do you speak responsibly in public spaces without suppressing lived experience?
Mm-hmm.
So, if we don't ask those questions, if we don't entertain those very real realities,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not gonna move forward. You're at least not gonna move forward under the idea of trying to heal.
Mm-hmm.
You're just rehearsing damage. And there was a thing I had seen. Iyanla Van Zandt had done something I saw on one of her episodes. It was a long time ago, but she was telling the person that you are so attached, you are so married to your pain that you can't heal, because you can't give up the pain in order to process anything else. Your whole mentality is, I am my pain, I am my trauma, and you're not ready for nothing else. But that's, I'll stop there. I'll shut up.
All right. I think Sister Robin is back. Sister Robin.
I was talking, but I was backstage. But
my bad.
No, that's all right. I agree with the professor. I think the pain that she's feeling, she's expressing, but at the end of the day, I have a problem with it, because it's a concern in our Black community as far as how we portray the Black man. So just like you said, you have a platform, you say something, but you don't realize the harm, and if anything, you're procuring hate, because there was those feelings that you have. I say they're not valid. That's me. That's my opinion of it. If you really look deep and dive deep into it, you'll find out that they're not valid. What have you learned? What is your past experiences, or not just your experiences, but who influenced you throughout your years' experiences that have shaped your thought process of how you see the Black man? So, I'm not sugarcoating it. If that sister was in front of me, it would be a whole different situation in the story, because no, you're doing the very thing that society would want you to do as far as for that Black man. You're not liberating him. You're not inspiring him. to do anything more than what he's doing at that moment. You're being an enabler at the end of the day. So where is your what does that make you?
What do you say about that, Sister Robin? I'm hearing something here. You saying it makes you an enabler. What does that make? You're being an enabler. What does that make you? What do you say?
I'm saying that in that situation, you're being an enabler, because at the end of the day, a person can only do what you allow them to do.
Mhm.
So if he's doing all those things that you say that he's doing, then what are you doing to inspire him to be more? Are you browbeating him on a regular? You know, we can go into a little bit more. I can break it down, because 9 times out of 10, there's some browbeating going on. There's no inspiration. There's no speaking life. That's in other words, that's what I'm saying. Speaking life to that brother. Are you speaking life to him? You just showed me that you're not, because you are the new white man, right? She's the new white man. Or those other ladies that have said that they're the new white man.
I mean, Sister Robin, I get the feeling and the sentiment. I mean, because I've seen it, and I agree with you holistically. I have seen sisters try, and only to be taken advantage of. And what I mean by but the problem is, like, as I started the show out last week, to some degree, many people have you've noted, you kind of saw the red flags before this thing went down.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to put it on just the sisters either. What I will say is that we find ourselves in a society, a subculture within a culture that really tears us apart.
Yep.
And I've seen. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. Go ahead.
And I've seen sisters try. Well, I'm going to say try too much, and that also becomes a problem. And the brother takes advantage and so forth, but they both begin to play games on one another. And at some point she tried. She asked him for this, she asked him for that, she asked him to do this. He starts getting frustrated because he can't find a job. She getting frustrated because the bills are coming. It's all this type of stuff going on. At some point, they just become resentful of each other. Is multi-directional. And at some point, they start to traumatize one another. And they start to abuse one another. Verbally, emotionally, psychologically, and it might get to physical violence.
Mm-hmm.
And also gets to lots of times financial violence. So I'm wondering, I see the pain on all parts, and I see the pains from the sisters. Now, the argument I'm making is not the majority of our relationships, though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I work with people every day that's going through. But I also seen, like, for example, it's such like we bring our trauma with us, where sometimes one of the party members, maybe their parents, their electric got cut off when they were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And they promised to themselves, I would never go through that again.
Yep.
Now they putting this pressure on the other party. If they 2 days behind, or their check didn't come that week, or they got a physical ailment. I'm saying physical ailments. And I've worked with sisters and brothers that, like, this brother or the sister, specifically the brother in this case, though, can't even be going through a physical issue right now. I'm talking about life-threatening issue.
Mm-hmm.
But no, bro, you gotta get up and do some work. But I also seen brothers who in sick in their minds and their wife is saying, look, babe, chill out. Chill out. And he's like, no, I gotta work because this is what a man is. And so I'm just saying the society has played something on our minds and we believe this thing. But again, I do have to say, my sisters, I see my sisters out here trying. I see my sisters out here doing some mess too. I ain't gonna lie about that. I mean, look, sisters, boy, I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, I hear all the stories. I mean, look, I mean, body, sex, everything is being weaponized.
Mm-hmm.
Back pocket, brothers in the back pocket, because I got abandonment issues. Brothers already hoeing around because that's what they've been taught to do.
Taught to do, right?
You know what I'm saying? But then sisters got more people in their pocket because they feel like if this doesn't work, I got to be able to run back to this guy. But the whole time they entertaining these guys because you got to keep this person entertained in case this one don't go right. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of trauma going on. And I would say that sweeping statements like that do not serve us. I mean, I don't think I'm going to argue that sweeping statements don't serve us like that. They don't serve us. And I also would say this, and this will be my final words, I believe, and you two can, if y'all have something to say, is that just the fact that I've seen some of these posts come out recently and some of the conversation around this and just the conversation in general, I think that we have to, it's almost like people when they go to their pastor for counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a lot for even our Christian brothers and sisters to, it takes them a lot to deal with the fact that their pastor might not be the best equipped. And I would argue that that goes for our priests and priestess and our West African or traditional religions or even Kemetic or whatever, these traditional houses. Because, you know, and there's lots of people who I went to school with who were pastors because, and first, what people might not know is that my master's program was a clinical mental health program inside of what they call a pastoral counseling program. And that pastoral counseling program taught you to work with people from various spiritual traditions. And our spiritual traditions can become limiting. I know that we don't want to hear that, but our spiritual traditions they're not necessarily true either if we want to keep it above. They do serve a place. They have a truth for us, but it is not a universal truth. And sometimes our traditions blind us because we believe that they have more power than they truly have. And they're not serving people in the meantime because we believe that we can do a few things and it's going to be well. There's nothing. I'm telling you, I work with people from all the traditions, including some of our West African traditions, and we be out of our goddamn minds. And sometimes that damn shrine ain't gonna work. I'm sorry to tell you, it is needed. I would tell somebody to build a shrine, but just to keep it 100 and funky right now, sometimes we gotta do something a little different. I've seen people do some of the most. I won't even begin to tell you the things I see people do because they don't want to deal with what is real and what is reality. And our spiritual traditions, I don't care which one it is. I don't care if it's black. I don't care if it came from Africa. I don't care if it came from Mother Europe. Mother Europe. You know, I don't care where it came from. We already kind of figured this out in the black community where the black church community had to start saying things like, you know what? Mental health and psychology and so forth is not anti my religion and I can do both. And then now preachers has started to be honest and say, you know what? I'm not prepared for what it takes. preachers are starting to say this thing, and they're starting to be real, and they're starting to find a way to interweave mental health into their way of seeing the world through their religious lens. But before now, they didn't have that understanding, so they had to find a way to make it work, in their framework. And I maintain that we have to do the same thing with these traditions, because in review of that particular conversation, I can see we all have blind spots. But one thing about traditions, and what I realize about religious traditions, is that religious traditions have it all. Many times, like there's no blind spots because they have the answer. No, there's no easy answers. There's no easy answers. There's, it's just not that easy. So I would argue, me as a minister, from an African-centered perspective, I realize there's strength there, but I also understand there's limitation there. And why you keep broadening your eyebrows? Because you don't want me to bring you. You like, why am I switching back and forth? You reading?
Oh no, I'm reading the comments. So,
okay.
I'm bugging off. I'm bugging off the comments for more.
So so I'm gonna close this case and say we have to train ourselves and understand our limitations, even when we coming from our spiritual traditions. I also say that we have to keep it real. Like, instead of, coming for coming, we have to begin to respect our professionals, especially those who are centered. And not just utilize this thing, oh, you went to school, okay, now you demonize that. I'm not saying just take it because somebody went to school either. But what I am saying is not to demonize and disqualify people who are our professionals. I'm saying not disqualify people because they put out a research article, and the first thing you say is, "Oh, research articles and Pew Research that's not real. I mean, that's wrong," and all this type of thing. But you don't know what you're talking about because you don't even know. You've never been through the process. Let somebody who's been through that process help you distinguish or learn how to distinguish between poor research and research that we can kind of depend on to some degree. Most of us haven't even taken if some of us, we took a statistics class and we held our breath, and from there we didn't look back at it. What I am saying is there's those of us who had to take probability, qualitative analysis, and all these very, very, it's like you're having a conversation with somebody, and many times you don't even realize. You just don't realize. It's kind of like, that's the one thing about academia and healing work and all these different things and social stuff that kind of frustrates people. Like, if you go to the martial arts instructor, for the most part, that if he been doing this for 20 years and this is your 5th day or this is your 5th year, that it's highly probable that he know more than you, that he can see the map wider than you. But when it comes to these things, somehow we begin to believe that we are on the same level or we have the same mapping. And I'm not saying you have to go to school. I know people who never touched the day of class, and their map is wide on many issues that I will not touch. When they're in the room and they're talking about certain things, I let them do their thing, because I think some of us can't feel when we won't admit it. Like I think we need to harness the ability to realize when someone else's map, understanding, range, and all is just a little wider or a lot wider than mine. So let me give way. Brothers and sisters, I'm gonna turn it over back to you, Proper. And I think my dear sister's gone. Oh no, it's Sister Robin. So if y'all want to close it out, I'm good. Proper, did you close out already, or you want to say something else?
No, I closed out. I'm good.
Yeah, I closed out too. I'm good too.
You closed out too?
Yeah.
Okay, y'all nice. Y'all want to leave like just a one-liner then for the family? Family, like,
Yeah.
share, and subscribe for sure. Make sure you thumb up this video. Make sure you go over to the Proper Perspectives page if you're on my page, and make sure you come over to my page, Dr. Dennis Assault Winkler, if you're on this on Proper's page. And thumb the video, like the video, and leave a comment. You know, y'all got some one-liners.
I got a one-liner just to veg you back off of that last part that you said. I'll just say, you know, when you start dealing with spirituality, no matter which God you pray to, you can't avoid the journey you are destined to experience.
Say that one more time. I kind of missed it. That was multitasking, and it sounded very profound, and I want to make sure that I hear that.
No matter which God you pray to, you can't avoid the journey you are destined to experience.
Absolutely.
Ashe.
All
right. Well, thank you. Ms. Robin, do you have anything else, or you good?
I'm good. That was enough said right there.
All right, we're gonna say enough said. Peace and power.
When you claim your Africanness, you're gonna get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Black and I'm proud. When you claim your Africanness, you're gonna get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're gonna get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're gonna get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. Become a part of it. Embrace it. 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 When you claim your Africanness, you're gonna get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're gonna get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.